Good morning. So I've been trying to do this video forever and I'm getting lots of interruptions. So that's just an indication on me and not to be speaking on whatever it was that I was speaking on. So welcome. Today is, I believe, Monday. We're still sheltering in place and we're still in quarantine. I think President Trump extended it to the end of April. So, so lots of perfect time for self-love and self-healing and paying attention to whatever it is about you that you haven't paid attention. I've been trying to do my 30-day challenge that I saw on YouTube with the sit-ups and stuff. And so I'm not close in any way, but it'll give me a really nice time to be able to do that. And I think I'll be doing beer battered fish today. So I can't wait to do that. So this is a time to really spend with your family. Make sure that that you follow all the rules. I just read this article on this guy that, with these roommates, and they sort of made a plan for the coronavirus in case anybody got sick. And so it was very interesting because it was a lot about having to take your shoes off and then really, sanitizing everything as soon as you finished it and then at night. So I think that we have to be really, really cautious. And I think we have to take this very seriously. All those people that go to, the beach, for spring break or whatever, there's people who are still going to choir practice. There's people that are, I don't know. I mean, just be cautious. If you don't need to go out, don't, and take this very seriously. I was watching on YouTube this lady that was born in 1907 and she survived the influenza epidemic in the, early 1900s. I think she was 10, and it was just very interesting to see. And we thought that we would never get to this point, right? And so here it is, and part of the globalization of markets, and the reason that we're so intricately interlaced, and that's how it sort of spreads so quickly. So let's try to, as best as we can, keep safe until they come up with a vaccine. I know that there's a lot of adjustments that have been done in a lot of workplaces, particularly in schools, especially higher education. There's a lot of things that the deans have done that maybe have been frowned upon, but it's very hard to make mass decisions when you have so much responsibility. So nobody knows what to do. The people in power and the people that are responsible try as best as they can to make those decisions. I know that I took it very seriously when I was a principal because the first and foremost, most important thing was my student safety, and it was a huge weight on me. And so we need to be very conscious of whatever it is that they tell us and try as best as we can to abide by them, because they're only, in the end, everything that they are telling us is for our safety and for our loved one's safety. So make sure that, that you use this time to be in familial, and really use hygiene practices accordingly. But most importantly, it's about self-love. And so maybe this video is about love. We are constantly looking for love, and we're constantly wanting people to love us, and we're constantly, wanting acceptance and, true love, whatever that is, right? Because in love isn't just amorous love, it's love, right? You have all sorts of different types of love, just like that book about language of loves and love languages or whatever. There's all sorts of love. There's all sorts of loves that you have. And so a love is the ultimate goal for, I guess, life. And so it is a time, first and foremost, to look into your own life and see where you haven't been loving yourself. I've been really doing the challenge for sit-ups. That I saw this challenge in YouTube for 30-day sit-ups, and I haven't been, I think I've only really done it for 11 days or maybe a week. 7 days, it hasn't even been 2 weeks, and it's only been one, and I have seen significant changes in my body. So I'm really excited about that. I've also noticed that I'm creating a lot of habits now that I'm home. I eat a lot, I sort of aren't getting dressed when I'm supposed to. I sort of don't care, and I sort of start maybe in sweats after I do my workouts. And so it's very important to make sure that even though you have nowhere to go, right, that it's important to cater your body and look pretty, and whatever that means. Look pretty doesn't mean you have to put makeup on. Just look pretty and be clean and be, be proper, right? And care for yourself. Don't be in sweats all day. Don't eat all day. Don't get bad habits. Last night I got up, I was really hungry, and at midnight I ate some pasta. I never eat pasta. So make sure that you're conscious about all these maybe habits that we're getting that we used to not have because we're kind of bored or we don't know what to do. I started reading a book yesterday that I had bought this book in forever. It's called The Other Einstein. It's very, very interesting, and I'm glad that I have the time to do so. So enjoy this time to do things that you haven't done in a long time before. Set challenges for you in terms of eating better, having self-care, and then of course maybe doing exercise at home. And if you don't have like a little gym, I have a little gym, and one of my students wanted me to do a video on exercise, and that sort of goes hand in hand with health and all sorts of other stuff. So I'm going to finish that off, but I have my little gym that I've sort of created. But if you don't have a gym, there's a lot of YouTube videos, and there's a lot of videos that you can see that have body weights, in terms of your own body and using your body as a weight, and then really doing stuff. I have gone out to the river. I'm maybe considering not going. There was a lot of people last time, and so that's sort of defeating the purpose. So I'm really, really happy with my training that I've basically have done. Since I have somewhat of time, then I'm really incorporating much more exercise into my routine, which is great. I've never been in a situation like this where I've sort of been home all day, because I've always worked all my life and I've had really high positions and very big responsibilities. In addition to that, I've always been a wife. I've always had, family to take care of, and I've always had children. I'm not a wife right now, right? But I've always had my family to take care of, and then, as you all know, that I'm with mama, so I'm kind of concerned with that as well. I've been going in and out a lot, so I'm adjusting to that so she won't get sick, and of course take care of myself because I have asthma. But going back to self-love, it is important to be able to self-love yourself and be able to nurture yourself and be able to eat healthy and be able to exercise, because it is, as I mentioned before, we are all we have. Like, we are it. Like, you're it, right? And so you love other people and you have your family, but first and foremost, as my son said the other day, he said, Mommy, first and foremost, let's just be healthy. And that's an absolute truth, right? And so I think we've taken a lot for granted in terms of our body and in terms of healthy and in terms of having everything at our disposal and having the ability to go buy whatever it is that we wanted. The other day I went to the store. I hardly don't go to the store, and there was nothing, and the things that I was looking for weren't available. And it really brought me down, and it really rooted me and grounded me, because I said, oh my God, all the depression era people that went through it, that they had nothing. I mean, it's not like you can go and buy stuff, right, in that era. So even if you could, there wasn't anything to buy. So we've been very blessed, I think. At least I have in my generation, that we've always had a surplus of everything. And if you go to the store, you buy whatever it is that you want. And so it's been very interesting to see that. Be mindful, don't hoard stuff. There's other people that, need it. I read this article about people that are, with help. And so by the time they got their checks, and that's a lot of people that are older and are elders, and people that maybe aren't as blessed as we are, and maybe that are having a hard time, and so they need that help. And so by the time they got their checks, there was nothing in the supermarket. So that was very, very interesting as well. I also saw this YouTube video on this lady that went through the influenza epidemic, I think it was, like in the early 1900s, and she was 10 years old, and she was very powerful. Of course, she was like 100 by the time they were interviewing her, and she was very, it was a very powerful interview, because it stated and it sort of discussed what they went through, and that there were so many people dying, and that her family wasn't affected by it, so they automatically became the caretakers for everybody. And that her mom used to make soup, and in sterilized jars, mason jars, I'm sorry, and that she used to go when she was 10 years old, and her mom used to wrap her up, wrap her completely up, and she used to knock at the neighbors' houses, and then drop off the soup, and then leave, and that's how they used to get fed. And that her dad you know, planted like a fourth of their acre with potatoes. And so then that's what the people survived on, because they couldn't work because they were so sick, and that they started creating mass graves just because they couldn't keep up with the deaths and the people of them. So it is a time of reflection, and it is a really time of, you know, becoming mindful and truly understanding what's going on, and not going out to the beach and, you know, and parties or choir. I read this article where, you know, they have choir practice. I mean, you know, I just don't know. I was going to go get some tests and analysis today, because I had been waiting for this about 2 or 3 months, and my children called me and they're like, I don't think you should go. And so I agreed. I don't think I should go. I mean, I need the test, but you know, but right now is not a good time. So, you know, I'll wait. So make sure that you make conscious decisions, and that you really follow it, and that you really, you know, disinfect everything all the time, and as best as you can, keep it clean, and mostly be mindful, and be mindful of yourself. And this is a perfect time of self-love, and it's a perfect time to understand the beauty of your body, and how incredible our bodies are, and how incredible our bodies sustain. You know, our bodies do not have a day off at all, right? I mean, they go, and they don't get a Sunday, and they don't get a holiday. They are required to perform always, at any single time, and at every single moment of our lives. And sometimes we take that for granted, and we don't give it the rest that we need. We don't give it the food that we need, and the proper nutrients. We don't feed it enough water. We don't feed it, you know, we don't do a lot of exercise. And so we don't take care of it. We really, you know, really take advantage of it and abuse it, without really understanding the beauty of our body, and our full body, physical body, and what an incredible system it is, and what an incredible, like, being it is, right? That you can do anything, and it sort of heals itself, and it doesn't. So this is a time to give back to our body, and to have the self-care and the self-love that we so much need, and to understand that in the end, as my son said, you know, right now we just need to focus on being healthy. And that's exactly right. Being able to focus on being healthy. And what does that mean? And try to be as mindful, and try not to go crazy in your house, and find things that you like to do that you hadn't done before, and things that possibly you've never tried, that it's time to try, and maybe make those calls that you so need to make, and especially check in on those elderlies. I have my mother, and I'm so grateful for my siblings, because they take incredible care of her, much more so than I do of her. And but I also have this elderly lady that I sometimes go and visit. And so for whatever reason, I was compelled the other day. I made banana bread because I didn't want to throw out the bananas, and I had time, and I love to bake, and I love to cook. And so I made banana bread. I wanted to send a care package to my son because he's far away, and you know, and it's hard to be away when you're when all this is going on, and away from the family, and he's concerned about my well-being and my asthma and all that. So it's always you know, difficult. So I wanted to get a care package, and so I used some bananas that were spoiling, and I did some banana bread, and I sent him and his girlfriend some banana bread. But I also took Mama some banana bread, and then gave my daughter some banana bread, and then took this lady banana bread, and I said, you know, just take it to her, and just, you know, I don't need to talk to her. You know, I can just leave it at the door, or, you know, I can distance myself when I knock. So I knocked, and she wasn't there, whatever. And so I left it there, you know, and I said, I hope the aunts don't get it, because there was nowhere to leave it. So I left it there in front. And then for her to make sure that it was me, I just left my business card, and she knows that it's me. But she called the next day, and she said, you know, I can't thank you enough. You know, it was my birthday yesterday. I was like so shocked, and I was so moved, and I'm so glad that I went, because I wasn't gonna go, and I wasn't gonna drop it off, and I was just gonna. It was too much work, and I wasn't, you know, and I wasn't gonna do it, but I forced myself to do it, and I needed to go check up on her, and even though I had been calling her and checking up on her, I didn't mean to cry. I went, and I left her the banana bread. I don't even know if it was good or anything, because the sun was hitting it all night. But she called me. She said, you know, I've been crying all day because because it was my birthday, right? And so she's pretty lonely and she's not in a good state with her family. So I was very grateful that I took her the banana bread. So make sure that you reach out. If you can't go and drop off stuff to people that you can't get a hold of, make sure that you call them up. You just don't know if it's anybody's birthday that day, and that you taking them or making a nice gesture, a human nature, a gesture that probably means nothing to you, but means the world to them. So I didn't mean for this video to be all cryy, and I don't have a napkin or whatever, so I'm gonna go get one. So many blessings, and make sure you reach out. Make sure that you do the right thing, because you are, in the end, the person you are always, especially in these times. Many blessings.